Hey out there, it's Wake Angel 2001, back again for the last episode of the special 2 weeks of new Sonic Boom episodes. This one was called Beyond the Valley of the Cubots. So, as the title suggests, this episode focuses around Cubot and Orobt. You know, kind of like Dude, Where's My Eggman? Or the one with the internet guy where they went all 16-bit, 17-bit. Okay, so this episode begins with Tails in his workshop. He's making final adjustments on a machine that will automatically make adjustments for him. And he's lamenting that he doesn't have a machine to make these final adjustments. So he reaches for a tool, but he can't find it. So he kind of completely freaks out, like, "My babies!" And then the walrus is like, "No, you know how I feel." And then she looks out the window, and her baby is dangling from you know, the thing, from a leaf from the palm tree outside. It's the suicidal baby thing, you know, that's a thing in cartoons. Oh, speaking of the walrus lady, reading my computer here, I just got tweeted. I found out from one of my fans today, AngelCam7, that I've been tweeted. Bill Freiberger, or Freeburger, I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce his name. He's the voice of Comedy Chimp and the Walrus Lady that I just mentioned. And he's also been a writer-producer for a lot of really cool animated shows. He's done The PJs, Drawn Together. He did Greg the Bunny, which is kind of like an adult version of The Muppets. They only ran for one season on Fox, but I liked it. Along with a whole bunch of other stuff. And he tweeted about my vlogs, and that's so cool. I'm so happy that one of the major creators and voice actors of the show noticed me. I haven't felt that good since my fan art got featured in the Sonic comics. Okay, so anyway, back to the story. Sonic and Tails come to the conclusion that Dr. Eggman has stolen the tools, so they go bursting into his lab, and he says. And so, of course, they just kick the door down, and Eggman's upset because he just fixed that door. But when Tails tells him that his tools are missing, Eggman notes that some of his tools have also gone missing. So he tells him to go away and he'll build them for the door later. And Sonic and Tails, seeing the way he reacted, conclude that, you know, whatever you can say about Eggman, he didn't lose the, you know, he didn't take the tools. So Eggman says that there are these rogue robots that have been following his every move and could come back to strike at any time, and they have to destroy them first. But he doesn't know where the robots are, so he sends Cubot and Orobt out to search for them because, you know, they know because they know how to think like robots because they are robots. So Cubot and Orobt are out in the wilderness, walking around in circles. And it's because Cubot is the one in charge of the compass, and Orobt says, "Don't you know how to find north with a compass? Don't you know how to find out which way to go with a compass? Those things tell you which way to go?" Well, Orobt was introduced to us as an idiot, even in his original appearance in the video game, so I don't care. But the thing is, I'm wondering, can they actually use a compass? Because, you know, a compass is a small magnet. It lines itself up with the Earth's magnetic field, and that's how it finds north and south. But if you have metal on you, then that metal in your can confuse the magnet, and it'll point towards the metal on you. Like if you have to be careful not to hold it too close to your belt buckle. But Cubot and Orobt are made of metal. The compass needle will always point towards one of them. Unless they're like magnetically shielded, or if they're made out of ceramics or something. But I digress. That was a digression cough. So we continue on. While they're searching around in the woods, they come across a bunch of other Cubots. It turns out that they were all a bunch of Cubot prototypes, and they all look slightly different. Some are wearing hats, some have one has glasses, one has an eye patch. One of them has a big curly-haired wig, and everybody calls her Cutebot. They said that they were created one by one by Dr. Eggman, and in the testing phase, he always said that they weren't good enough, and he discarded them. So in full-on Shawshank Redemption Shawshank. Why can't I say that? In full-on Shawshank Redemption parody mode, they peel back a poster in the wall to reveal a hole, which they crawl through, and they come out of a sewage pipe, thankfully a dry sewage pipe, into the freedom of the light of day. And they do the Shawshank Redemption pose, and they go off into the wilderness, where they've been living ever since, trying not to catch Eggman's attention, because if Eggman were to find them, he would dismantle them for parts. So, what is wrong with my throat? I can't seem to talk. So, the problem is that Cubot, the one I mentioned with the wig, started malfunctioning, and they needed to get some parts and tools to repair her. So, that's a thing that happened. You know, the thing is, they're a bunch of Cubots. They're idiots. In fact, one of them, while Cubot's running around, she throws up sparks and sets a bush on fire. One of the other Cubots tries to put the fire out by shooting it with a laser, but that makes the fire worse. So Cubot says not to do that, but to use sand to put the fire out. So the others bury the fire in sand, and it works. So everyone concludes that the Cubot they have is the ideal Cubot, and he is the and you know they defer to him as leader because he's the genius, at least compared to them. So Orobt suggests that they Orobt suggests that since Cubot's still not smart enough to repair Cubot, he suggests that they find Tails, because Tails is the mechanical skill to repair a robot, and also has the good inclination to not dismantle any of them for parts like Eggman would. So everybody calls Cubot brilliant for listening to Orobt. And they take him to the they get Tails there. He starts to fix them up, and he says that that they should be fine. Once he fixes Cubot, she runs into a wall, and they say that's the best she's ever run. Cubot decides to stay with the Cubot so he can rule over them. And when he says, follow me, everyone starts running away. Because, you know, prototypes. Let's see. So Orobt decides to leave Cubot behind and goes back to Eggman by himself. And Eggman says that their Cubot isn't the perfect Cubot. The fact of the matter is, he just got sick and tired of trying to perfect the Cubot series, so he gave up on them and started the Orobt series. So in a way, Orobt is actually the ideal Cubot. More on that later. I have so much to say about that. But, knowing that these renegade robots are still running around, Eggman decides that can't stand, so he puts Cubot into a device that allows it to scan his GPS tracker, wondering why he doesn't just get the wireless version, and it tells him where they've been so he can find where the Valley of the Cubots is so he can destroy them. So we cut back, and all the Cubots are referring to Perfect Cubot, I'm going to call him, sitting on his little throne, and they're asking him questions like, what's the meaning of life? What does this self-destruct button do? Boom! And then Tails, repairing the Cubot, says, Did another Cubot hit his self-destruct button? Boom! Oh, come on! But it turns out that the second explosion wasn't a Cubot blowing itself up, it was Dr. Eggman coming in on his Eggmobile, shooting lasers in the valley. So you know, everybody fights to defend the Cubots. Cubot Prime suggests that they all run away, but they all just kind of stand there like, I tell you to follow me, and you run in random directions. And I tell you to run, and you just stand there? You guys are idiots! The fool in the land of morons. Like a pig among guinea pigs, or a dwarf among midgets, you know? That was a Family Guy quote, you know, just in case. Alright, so So Sonic and Tails help Cubot fight off Dr. Eggman and protect the other Cubots. And after he goes away, they say that they're going to transfer the other Cubots to some other place where they'll be safe and Eggman won't be able to find them. And then another Cubot hits the self-destruct and blows himself up, and Sonic says that they'll be relatively safe. So with all the Cubots promised to be safe, the Cubot and Orobt are back to mopping floors in the lab, and you know that's just basically where the story ends. Okay, now what I was gonna say about Cubot and Orobt. Okay, my fellow Sonic nerds, you know that Orobt was introduced in Sonic Unleashed as the Ergo robot. He was the robot that talked to Dr. Eggman, and in that one scene he just kept saying Ergo at the beginning of every sentence. So much so that he earned the nickname Ergo. So, and then in the game that came out after Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, then Dr. Eggman had Cubot and Orobt to be the pair of minion sidekicks, because every iteration of Eggman had a pair of minion sidekicks, but the video game version ironically never did until Sonic Colors came out and these two guys were finally introduced in full. Now, the thing is, even in that game, Cubot had a malfunctioning voice chip and always talked in a different accent or a different voice. Sometimes he sounded like a cowboy, sometimes he sounded like posh, and in the end, when his voice chip finally stabilized, he kind of sounded like Scratch from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. But everything about that suggests that Orobt was built first and Cubot came second. Now, this cartoon is telling us the opposite. It's saying that Orobt was prototyped a bunch of times until Cubot was prototyped a bunch of times until Eggman finally gave up and just made Orobt. So, Cubot's the older one in this universe. I know I shouldn't be nitpicking because this is a different canon. It's just that I find it weird that they would make Cubot first. Although, I guess they needed an excuse to have a whole bunch of Cubots in one episode. And it's always been confirmed that Orobot's the smarter one of the two, so it makes sense that Cubot will be the imperfect first one, and then Orobt would be the smarter second one. Although, I think they could have still spun it. They could have said that the Orobots were too annoying because, I don't know, maybe they were overly nitpicky or neat freaks, or, you know, like the annoyances of perfection. And so Dr. Eggman made an intentionally flawed and dull-witted Cubot to even it out. And then you'd find the Valley of Orobots, which instead of being populated by idiots who keep on hitting their own self-destruct button, it will be populated by a bunch of nervous neat freaks who are always correcting everything and trying to get everything perfect. That could have worked. I mean, it's kind of a flip, but I think it could have worked, and it would have kept Orobt as the older one, like in the video games. But, you know, that's nothing to hold against the series. That is not a flaw. That is just, you know, that's me exercising my Sonic nerd muscles. So yeah, I think that's about it. Cubot and Orobt centered episode. It wasn't as funny as Dude, Where's My Eggman, but it still cleared my threshold. It was still all good. Nothing wrong with it, objectively speaking. So I'm not sure if there's going to be a regularly scheduled episode Saturday morning. So I'm going to check tomorrow morning, of course. If there is one, I'll record it and watch it and do a vlog about it. But until then, this is going to be it for now. Thank you all for watching this special 2-week series of daily vlogs. Well, it's actually been a 1-week series because I kind of just uploaded four of them in a single day, but yeah, it's been good to have 2 weeks of new episodes at a time slot where we could actually watch them. So that's all good. Alright, I'll see you guys next time, whenever the next episode of Sonic Boom is up, or whenever I make the next figure, or whenever I review the next toy. You know, I do a lot of stuff. See you guys.